A Mathematician's Tale, a warning from history. All persons and events in A Mathematician's Tale have been taken from some of the infinite number of parallel universes of which we are but one. Any resemblance to persons or events, past, present or future, that have either lived in or taken part in the Milky Way galaxy of our universe is entirely coincidental. Andrew sat on the sand dunes, a lonely figure looking wistfully out to sea at the gigantic 500-foot tsunami wave. It was a dull yet intense blood-red colour, backlit by the dying cinder that was once our glorious sun. He was not, however, in any danger from that monster out to sea, which had been generated by the massive tidal forces that were now tearing our planet apart. Temperatures were now so low that the tsunami wave had frozen solid in its tracks. Andrew hearkened back to that fateful day, 23rd June 1993, when in the Bodleian Library in Oxford he was giving the presentation of his mathematical tour de force for the proof of Fermat's last theorem, a task that had taken him 7 years as an attic recluse. There was a strange face in the audience. At the end of his lecture, Andrew turned to the delegates who were eagerly awaiting for the crucial announcement. He turned to the blackboard and wrote in large capital letters, "Hence Fermat's last theorem is false." He turned yet again, but this time to his audience, and said, "I think I'll stop here," little realizing how fateful those words would be. The cameras were about to flash and champagne bottles about to pop when suddenly a commanding voice boomed from the audience. "And what, may I ask, are the 4 integers that fit Fermat's equation and therefore show that the theorem is false?" Andrew's knees went to jelly and he stammered, The next moment Andrew found himself imprisoned in a doorless room hidden within the extra-dimensional space of the Bodleian that was as yet undiscovered by mortal man, quantum physicists included. The stranger in the audience was none other than the god Calculus from Mount Olympus University, and he had been waiting since the dawn of infinity for someone to find the numbers that would forever put mathematics to rest as a complete science, and now he had found his man. He had granted Andrew immortality, together with infinite paper and a pen with infinite ink, and Andrew would only be given his freedom when he had completed the task Calculus had set him of writing down the 4 integers. There was no mention of Andrew's disappearance in the Nationals the following day, not even in the Oxford Herald, and his wife passed away many years later, believing he was still happily beavering away in his attic. "You were right then," said Andrew. "About what?" said his companion. "About the heat death of the universe," said Andrew. "Yep," said his companion, who only moments before had been given the televised 2011 Christmas lecture at the Royal Institution in London, England, entitled "Indoctrinating the Masses with Science as I See It." Professor B.C. was renowned for his TW and AT awards to those who did not accept his views and ideas as presented in his book The World and Universe as I See It. He looked down at the ring on his finger. The massive diamond was missing. "I was also right about quantum jumps," he said. "Hi, guys," said Marcus. "Well, what are you so glum about?" said Andrew. Andrew and Marcus were childhood mates and grew up together as mathematical nerds. "I've recently solved the Riemann hypothesis," said Marcus. "Well, why so glum?" said Andrew. "Well, it tells me absolutely nothing about the distribution of the primes that I didn't already know," said Marcus, "and that is that they are just randomly distributed odd numbers. Furthermore, some old retired fart back in 2013 was telling us that we already knew the answer, and that the proof lay in the congruences," said Marcus. "And was he right?" said Andrew. "No," said Marcus, "but that doesn't make me feel any better." "We need cheering up," said Andrew. "I know," said B.C. "We'll form a comedy act." "What shall we call it?" said Andrew. "I know," said Marcus. "How about the Three Stooges?" There was an almighty flash and a bang. "Do you need a manager?" said J.R. "How on earth did you get here?" said the Prof to his friend. I don't really know, said J.R. I was at this boring Christmas lecture at the Royal Institution in London and had fallen asleep. When I woke up there was this massive diamond on the floor. I bent down to pick it up when suddenly, flashbang wallop, I find myself here. Strange, said the Prof. You're not a scientist or mathematician. No, said J.R. But my father had 666 tattooed on my cranium. Does that count? Never mind, J.R., said Andrew. Whilst I was entombed within the fabric of the Bodleian Library, I was allowed to keep up with daily current affairs. And I know you get back to 2011 as you received the Nobel Prize for the waste of space non-scientific celebrity of 2015. Why in 2015? asked J.R. I don't know, said Andrew. I do, said Marcus. 2015 is a very, 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 very rare number, called a pseudo-pseudoprime, of which there are only 2 in the whole of the infinity of numbers, and they are the only sequence in the infinity of all mathematical sequences whose quantity is given by a prime, and the rarest of primes at that, and of which only one is known, namely the even prime number 2, and for which we are still waiting a definitive proof that one and only one exists in the infinity of all the numbers. Also, we do not yet know what the second pseudo-prime is, but we do know, due to absurdum reductio infinitum, that it also ends in 5. And what does the prize consist of? asked J.R. A gold-coloured lead medallion and a Randy Ringer Chat Show CD, said Andrew. There was an almighty flashbang wallop. Andrew was all alone.